everybody, and welcome back to our final segment on mind-body practices for endometriosis. We are Deborah and Wendy of Living Lēla, and we specialize in optimizing fertility through mind-body practices. As we like to say, we're in the business of mama making. So, in the prior segments that we've shared about endometriosis, we've shared a variety of tools and information to help decrease pain and increase quality of life associated with endometriosis. But honestly, these tools can help with overall health and wellness as well as fertility.
So one of the things that I wanted to share that I found really interesting when I was doing a little bit more research on endometriosis is that it's a disorder where they talk about that there's a loss of the normal patterns of communication between your endocrine system, so your hormones, and your immune system. And that what happens is those cells that are supposed to be in the endometrium that go into the other parts of the body actually create inflammation. And then they also, because of the inflammation they create, they actually make it harder for your immune system to detect them, and that's why they get to live in these other parts of the tissue, right? So your immune system normally, if it sees something that doesn't belong, will go through and sort of chomp it up and get rid of it. But in this disorder, the immune system can't really target and find those cells. So it's just a very interesting thing. There's still a lot that they don't really understand about endometriosis in terms of where it comes from and so forth. But clearly, regardless of where it comes from, it does cause pain and impairments in quality of life. So Megan, as she beautifully discussed with us in one of the other segments, just did talk about how much inflammation is a part of this disorder. And so besides nutrition and all the wonderful things she shared with us about that, about what you can start to change, we wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the other kind of lifestyle and behavioral things that you can do that are anti-inflammatory, basically. And really, again, not just good for endometriosis, but for all of us, because most of us are in a state of distress from just the modern life we live these days. So when you think about basics of health, we think about sort of the four pillars. They used to just talk about three: food, exercise, and sleep. And now we know, of course, your state of mind, your mental well-being is that fourth piece of the stool that has to keep things in balance if we want to be in balance. So we're not going to talk again about what Megan talked about. We're going to refer you back to that part in terms of diet. But let's talk a little bit about sleep. So most people don't realize, but adults actually still need 7 to 9 hours of sleep at night, and most adults are not getting that these days. So just trying to get more sleep in your life in general is good. And also, when you sleep does have an impact in terms of your hormones and how well your body's processing and doing what it needs to do to heal and repair. So ideally, you want to be in bed by 10 p.m. at night. So try that if you can.
So no binge watching on Netflix.
Or start it earlier in the day. And then also, for a lot of people, what's impacting their ability to fall asleep at night is blue light. So you've probably heard about this by now, but if you haven't, there are apps, there are glasses that you can get if you need to absolutely be on your phone checking things before bedtime, or your iPads or whatever it is. Please get a blue light blocker, because that can make a huge difference. And then also things like alcohol, which Megan did talk about, does impair sleep in the sense of sometimes it makes you more tired initially, but it will make you sleep on a more shallow basis where you can actually wake up more easily. So just try to limit or eliminate that if you can in terms of your sleep. In terms of movement, right, that really can be anything. Of course, we love and recommend yoga because it's so amazing, but it can be walking, it can be hiking, it can be dancing, anything just to get the blood moving is important, because movement, particularly if it has some of a cardiovascular component, is also going to release endorphins, which are your natural painkillers. And that's also going to make you sleep better, by the way. So all of those things go hand in hand. We're not meant to just be sitting around all day. And that's, one of the worst things for me when I'm in my psychology job is I sit on my butt all day, and my body just feels that I want to be moving. We're not really meant to be sitting. So just movement. You don't have to go to the gym. Just move is super important for decreasing stress and inflammation. And then state of mind. So of course, this is a huge topic we could talk about forever, but or I could talk about forever anyways. But it's the thoughts that we have every day are turning on our emotions and then having physiologic changes in the body. So starting to become aware of your thinking and just noticing how much you spend your day anxietizing, which is thinking about the future. Because we love to try to control things as humans, and particularly we want to prevent future pain, and so we try to control all these things. So one of our sayings that we always talk about is control what you can and let go of everything else. So just even for starters, just start noticing how much you're anxietizing and worrying, and particularly when you're on the fertility journey, there's a lot of future focus of, you know, what's going to happen in 2 weeks? Am I going to get my period or not? Or what's going to happen at this doctor's appointment? What are they going to say about our capability to move to the next step, or whatever it may be? So just trying to be more present focused, just notice and then try to bring yourself back to the present as much as possible is great. What else is, I want you to think about, and a lot of people are talking about this concept now in terms of tidying up their homes, but I want you to think about this in terms of tidying up your life, so to speak, is what sparks your joy. So even if you can just, you know, I tell people, for example, I love crossword puzzles. And so even if you can do something you love for like 5 or 10 minutes a day, it can change how your day goes.
Yeah, they have these adult coloring books. These are really cool ones. I mean, there's all kinds of things I think that we maybe don't think about as adults, like that would have been something we would do when we were younger, or felt like we had more time. And like Deborah said, I mean, we don't have to spend hours doing it to get great benefit.
Yes, you don't have to wait till you go on your vacation or whatever it may be, or the weekend, to finally relax and have fun. Just like if you can fit little things during the day, that would be great. And then really we also are going to encourage you, and I know it's so hard when you're in the middle of the journey, is just to try not to be hyper focused on nothing but your fertility and that being your whole life. So as much as you can take breaks from that and just live your life, you know, go do the other things that you love or that you need to do, and not always just be thinking of fertility.
And we know that, especially for those of you who may be battling with endometriosis, there's a whole other level of you know, focus or anticipation of pain or what have you.
Sure.
It can sometimes feel like you're getting blindsided, come out of nowhere. You know, it maybe isn't always right when you're in your cycle or about to start. It could be mid-cycle. So we understand that, you know, some of this is, again, it's out of your control, and yet what can you draw in or try to practice that's going to help you feel supported in those times?
Yeah, and with chronic pain, one of the things I always talk to patients about is the idea of making friends with your pain. I know it sounds kind of strange initially, but it's sort of the idea like, you know, that annoying relative is going to show up for that holiday, so how do you just enjoy their presence? And so I'm not saying you have to enjoy your pain, but it's the idea that you don't, you're not surprised when it shows up, and that you've sort of said, well, this is part of my life. I don't have to love it, but I'm going to accept it. It's that idea of surrendering to it that's important. So again, when you can sit in discomfort, then you can move through it more so. And again, the more we go into fight or flight because we're anticipating danger, or we feel like we're in danger when pain is actually there, you want to tell the body to relax through it, or to relax to get past it, rather than clench and tighten up. So
and so utilizing some of the tools that we've talked about through these segments, the breath, you know, movement, different things, even food can help. All of it can be some of those supporting tools.
Right. So just like when we talked about your fascia, where everything's connected, your thoughts, your emotions, your body are completely connected. All of these things impact the other, whether you've realized that before or not. You know, so thankfully I'm so excited as a health psychologist and neuropsychologist. I'm so excited with all this research now that's literally showing how all of these things now are more and more connected. So
totally. So thank you guys so much for joining us through these segments, and there'll be more to come on different subjects. And You know, if there's something specific that you're wanting to know more about or wanting us to cover in regards to the context of what we teach, which is several different things, several different kind of elements, we are happy to do that. Just, you know, you can find us on social media, you can email us at connect@livinglēla.com and drop us a private line or whatever. So we're really open to hearing kind of what do you want to learn more about or have us cover. And, you know, in closing, there was an acronym that Megan shared, which was JOT, J-O-T, just
one thing.
So we've given a lot of different information through these segments, and we're talking about a lot of different elements, you know. But in the beginning, because that can feel very overwhelming, like, oh, I've got to change everything all at once, you know, that can feel extremely overwhelming. JOT, just one thing on this day, or just one thing on this week, or this month, if that's how much time you need. And then you start to kind of, it's like...
Right, once you build that habit, then it no longer feels so burdensome,
right.
And then you can go to the next thing you want to add and change and so on.
That's right. And so on our website, soulfulconceptions.com, there's an opt-in there for our free fertility resource library. And it's kind of a combination of different elements of the things we teach. So an introduction to all these different elements, and we'll be adding more.
A little
to
tasting
that.
platter,
Yes,
so to speak.
Exactly, a sampler. A little sampler. So, and we'll be, you know, continuing to add to that over time. So if you're just kind of needing some kind of starting ideas and what have you, please visit there, and we will see you the next time.
Thank you for joining us.
Namaste.
Namaste.